how does umama work? Because I think this is a very, in every home, I think even it's something that, it's a conversation that is had between a lot of couples, whether married legally or not, whether you're partners or not, access to credit and funds.
Right.
A lot of the time in our setting, if I want to take out any credit, I need to come and ask my husband first.
Yes.
You see. And this access to, you know, funds and credit is not because there's no existence of financial institutions that are willing to offer. How is umama handling that? Because I believe a lot of, I don't know, I'm not sure, maybe you can give us more light on that. The women that you work with, is that an issue? Because even within the Kampala suburbs and all, it is an issue.
It is.
Yes.
Very. It is. So our approach is train, is sensitize, train before you engage the credit.
Yes.
So we train, if the woman is a widow, for example, that's a one-way street.
Yes.
But if she has a husband, then you have to engage him as well.
Even
and
as
train.
per the law.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And train both of them. And so mostly highlighting the contribution of the woman in case she becomes financially successful, and them having another flow of income coming in from her as well. But also I think what I've noticed is in Africa, women too have their families they're coming from.
Yes.
And so if the woman's family is entirely relying on you as a man, even your family, that's a very huge burden. And so normally we tell him that once she starts working, she can take care of her needs and those of her extended home, because we live in an extended setup.
Yes.
So you don't only care for yourself alone. And so the men we have trained see this. 1% don't, and insist that they should make the financial decisions themselves, and that's and so it's work in progress for us. It's an ongoing job, you know. But there are instances where men actually come on board, and they even start joint businesses. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's really beautiful. They start joint businesses, and then they equally come to Mama for training. And we have seen that, and I think that's something that keeps us going as a project.
Speaking as a lawyer, I will tell you that the law says that we should not discriminate against a man, a woman based on gender.
Yes.
But from what you have said, this is something that actually really does happen. Because if you look at me as a man or as a woman, instead of looking at me as an individual who and basing and weighing my economic viability to take out credit, then it's a very dangerous place to be in, because we have, I think, come from a place where we know that a victim is an individual or a survivor, but the one who actually commits the economic or any other form of violence has to most likely be another individual. And we have not looked at banks, financial institutions that will target you systematically because of who you are.
True that.
Yes.
Even the law firms as well.
Yes.
Because of the fact that the locations of some of these services are in the towns, and more so in Kampala here. So you find it's difficult for women to get this information that they really need, because it's far away from them.
Yes.
Very, very far away. Even the banks too.
Have you got any interventions that do you deal with banks and these other financial institutions to make them aware of how they are perpetuating this and what they can do to change it?
Of course. We have a partnership with Opportunity Bank, where we go with them to do financial trainings, but also when it comes to women understanding what the bank has to offer, the bank has decided that in every movement we'll have to move with them. So women don't have to walk to the bank walks to them. In the initial case was clients have to walk to the bank.
Yes.
So
bringing the service closer, basically, to people.
And also we have made sure that if the bank needs agencies for to have extension of people to work for them, we've made sure that they choose among the Umama women
Yes.
to make sure that they can actually profit from this kind of work. And so that's the kind of relationship we have. But it's true, the effects for women not being able to access formal sector credit has had far-reaching consequences on women being able to start businesses, develop. And it has had far-reaching consequences, and that's what we're trying to unwind.
What interventions does the law have in place for people who are experiencing this sort of violence, economic violence?
A couple of years ago, I believe, if I'm not misquoting, it's about 2010, the Domestic Violence Prevention Act came into force. Now, this law deals with all forms of violence in a domestic setting that may occur. One of these is economic abuse and economic violence. And what's very particular about this is how broad the definition seems to be. Stephen has done a very excellent job at highlighting these things. You're depriving, you're withholding resources. These are things that are part and parcel of what the law says in relation to all these things. We are equal before the law, men and women, before we get married, when we do get married, even after the marriage ends, God forbid if it does end. One of the things that the law does, I'm going to talk protections. The other things are more of questions I would also want us to talk about. But if we're talking protections, the protection that came earlier than even this law was spousal protection. In law, we call this a spousal consent. Now, when we are married, there is property we own as a couple, and sometimes it's called matrimonial property, legally speaking. Now, the law allows, the protection it offers you is that your partner should not be able to use your property that you own without having gotten consulted, and not consulted is a very misleading word sometimes. When you say consulted, muchala, you've consulted me. No. It goes a little deeper and further than consultation. Yes, it's not just consultation, but because we are partners in this, spouses, it simply means you have to talk to me. We agree. That's what consent amounts to. Let's agree that you're going to get. And let's not agree that we're getting a loan of 5 million and then I find it's 100 million. So,
in our house.
Yes. So consent is a very particular thing that must be there. Now, if you're out there listening, it's very important for you to know that if somebody got a loan on property you jointly own and you did not know about it, you're not supposed to be chased all over this country, hiding, wondering how you need to go to possibly your own family members and collect money to pay a debt that somebody got without informing you, and it affects both of you. Even the bank is to blame, or the financial institution will be to blame for some of these things.